Hi Rachel, this is the opening page or the welcome page of the course, and it's pretty straightforward. It contains information that we have in every class. So it has the course information, some staying on track stuff, moving through the course, credit, no credit, questions, haiku, orientation, etc. The next page on the course is the overview. And on the overview page, we just have the syllabus and the grading policy. Then begins the coursework. So for session 1, it's theoretical, philosophical, and empirical foundations, typical and atypical development. In theory, we'll have a narrated PowerPoint that will start the course and explain the content. They'll have a pretest, which has not been written. Introductions, they'll work together, in the discussion board, or talk together, I should say. Under theoretical, philosophical, and empirical foundations, Tiffany was going to send me some information, but I started with the Code of Ethical Conduct. There's a link to that. There's a short video on Head Start's history. There's an overview of Montessori. Then under Early Intervention, we have a routines-based approach, part 1 of 3, part 2 of 3, and part 3 of 3. I have a video about the early recognition of child development, the ACT Early program. Early intervention home visits. This one talks about why home visits are good, and it's aimed at parents for what to expect. Then under typical and atypical child development, there's a video on childhood speech and language delays, one on child development milestones, and this is from the Pathways milestones, then the CDC milestone checklists, links to those, early signs of ASD tutorial, 6-month baby developmental stages and milestones. And then we have discussion questions which have not been written yet, and a mini quiz. In session 2, it's the role of family in ESCE. And the first, again, it'll have that narrated PowerPoint. So we begin with sharing the knowledge with parents and families and about DEC recommended practices, a minority parent's perspective on autism, a Caribbean parent perspective. Then we have identifying and accessing eligible services. And for that, I have links to locate your local first 5 partners. So I have the Map Locator tool link and then San Diego County resources. Healthy Development Services from Rady's Children's Hospital. California Children's Services, short video on that. And then a link to the Family Resource Center with Early Start. Under accessing ECSE programs, I just have a link to Regional Center and their intake process. Then again, we have discussion questions and a mini quiz. Session 3 is about assessment and evaluation of infants, toddlers, and preschoolers. And under preparing for assessments, we have early childhood assessment purposes, then DEC recommended practices, the link to the DEC recommended practices, an evidence synthesis of DEC recommended practices, and then a link to the CDC milestones page, again in the developmental screening tools this time. Assessment and evaluation of infants. I have 5 warning signs of developmental delay in infants and toddlers, staying objective in observation, early infant assessment, the importance of observation. That's like a 30-minute video. Most of the others I try to keep them as short as possible. Under assessment and evaluation of toddlers, we have a video on developmental milestones with regards to communication, motor development milestones, birth to 2 years, 2-year-old child development from Help Me Grow, Minnesota, authentic assessment using toddler snack time as an example of what they're looking for at that time. And then under assessment and evaluation of preschoolers, we have 3-year-old child development, again, Help Me Grow, Minnesota, assessing preschoolers' social, emotional, and behavioral skills with the RTI model, pardon me, it's early. And that video is long, it's like an hour, but I thought it was pretty good. Under session 4, which is all about family service plans, IEPs, and transitions, the first topic is the law. And under that we have the link to Part C of IDEA, Early Start in California. Under the Individual Family Service Plan heading, we have outcome video, Part 1 of 3, Part 2 of 3, and then Part 3 of 3. Then there's the IFSP components video that I've included there. Under the IEP, all I have so far is just a link for the California Department of Education Common Core resources for special ed. Under transitioning from pre-K to kindergarten, there's a link to transition from a multicultural perspective, and then a transition guide from Head Start. Both are website links. Under session 5, intervention, instructional strategies, and learning environments. Under the intervention and instructional strategies, birth through pre-K, I have a link to the Harlem Children's Zone Baby College, Parents as Teachers, the ABC News Report, challenging behavior in young children, disequilibrium and hitting in toddlers as well. Under developing curriculum and how to work with families, I have a video on supporting cultural and linguistic diversity in early childhood. On class, the culturally and linguistically sensitive practices, there's a web link. A video on strategies for encouraging speech and language development. And then there's an activity on how to make a sticky paper collage, which was kind of cool. Supporting English learners in the preschool classroom rounds out that subsegment. And then working with paraprofessionals. There's a link to a blog post on advice for working with paraprofessionals. Under paraprofessional competencies, there's a link also to an article on that. Then under learning environments, there's a video of the Rosie Rating Scale, Inspiring Spaces for Young Children. There's crafting a quality learning environment for young children, a video on the learning environment as the third teacher, and then finally constructive learning environments video. On natural environments, center-based, and home visits, I have Parents as Teachers curriculum. It's a mock home visit. Home visits, Healthy Families America, and then a short video on natural environments, and then a home visit checklist for inclusive planning, and there's a link to that site. Lastly, under session 6, in collaboration, teaming, and low incidence disabilities, under interagency collaboration, development, and evaluation, I have a link to the CDE handbook. Under low incidence disabilities in ECSE, I have an overview of what's meant by low incidence disabilities, CDC links on the specific developmental disabilities, a video on early intervention decreasing autism, early intervention improving social skills in toddlers with autism, another video on early intervention babies with visual impairments, CNN news reports about a boy hearing his father for the first time, a baby with hearing aids hears his mom for the first time, and that's what we have in that. Then of course we have discussion questions that haven't been written yet, the final assignment which hasn't been decided yet, the post-test, under resources for final or further study, I have the webinar from the DEC Learning Decks, and then also Healthy Families America, linked to them. So that's what's in the course so far. Thanks for looking through it with me.